Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me. It is time for day 3 of the Spellbinders 13 Days of Craftoween. So let's see what's inside, and then I'll make a tag using the products that are in here. I can't wait to find out. And if you haven't been keeping track, you can take a look at day 1 and day 2, which will be linked below. Okay, let's open this baby up and see what's inside. Love that kitty on the cover there. Oof! We have a poison bottle with a skull and crossbones. It even says poison. It's got a cork. I die cut all of my pieces. I accidentally moved the bottle die, so it didn't cut perfectly on one side, but I didn't have any more of this green paper, and it was so perfect. It was exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to do a little bit of surgery to try and fix that edge so that it doesn't look wonky, because I really wanted to use that paper. Call me crazy. Like, I have so much green paper, but I just had to use this one. Anyway, I got out the skull. I'm going to trim a little bit of black to put behind for the eyes and the nose hole. And for some reason, I'm struggling with this. I don't know why I worked with such a weird little piece, but whatever. I cut it down and fixed it. And that piece that has the label on it, that is from Basic Gray. You guys, I went into my Basic Gray collection and I cut a piece of it. That was hard, but for Halloween, I can do it. I can sacrifice Basic Gray for Halloween. If you remember Basic Gray from like the mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006, like, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff is important. Anyway, I took some desert sand, memento ink. Love that color ink. It's so good for so many things. And I aged that skull and crossbones a little bit. Now I have some rustic wilderness, and I'm going to put some of that along some areas of the bottle to make it look more dimensional. I love rustic wilderness. It's one of my favorite greens. Actually, we're using my 2 favorite greens today. The other one is Twisted Citron. You'll see that later. So I'm using my Shader 1 Plus brushes from Waffle Flower. Seriously, guys, I try not to be too much of an enabler, and I'm always encouraging you to use what you have. But if you need detail brushes for ink blending, I am telling you, those are the ones to get. I'm telling you. They're a great price, and I'm cheapskate. They're a great price, and they work so well, and I love that they have an angle to them. They're fantastic. So now I am adhering my poison label to the background piece so that it'll show black through there. You can make that any color you want, but the black seemed apropos for this. And now I have my cork, and I used a bit of vintage photo to ink that up. And again, you see that I've got my Shader 1 Plus brush. That's my brown shade. And we're going to do a little bit of inking on there to give the cork some faux dimension as well. I'm going to add that little tiny piece that's at the top there. Got my little jewel picker. And I'm just scraping off the glue oozage with my pokey tool. So now I'm going to attach all of those pieces to the bottle. And then we're going to start working on the background for our tag, which is going to be a lot of fun. Something I haven't done in a while, but it's a technique that I totally love. How great is this little die set? I mean, you could just make a whole mess of these. You don't necessarily have to have it say poison on it. You can make a different label. Maybe you have some labels that you can use from like other die sets. And you could just make a whole bunch of these bottles for a project. Even a scrapbook page would be really cool. I don't know. So I've got Rustic Wilderness and Twisted Citron that I have added to my glass mat. I've spritzed it with some water. Those are both Distress inks. And I'm just smushing the color around a bit with my fingers. You can use a brush if you want to, but I don't care if my fingers are inky. It means that I had a good day. And I am just getting that color all over my Manila Tag. This tag is from Avery, which I picked up from Staples. I'll have it linked below. And I'm just getting a nice swirl of color. I'm making sure that I have both of those colors on there. Obviously, the colors are going to look a little bit different because it is a Manila tag as opposed to white, but I like it. It looks old and aged, and it's fabulous. And I'm using my fingers here to pick up some of that color and put it where I want it, like on the edges. Don't be afraid to do that. Again, you can use a brush if you want to, but I don't mind using my fingers. So now I have Twisted Citron Distress Oxide Spray, and I am just splattering the heck out of this tag because I want lots of splatter on there. It's going to stand out really nicely. And then I'm going to go in and smush a little bit more. When you're working with oxides, they layer really nicely, whereas with the inks, they also layer nicely, but they're translucent. So you can see more of the oxides on top because they have an opacity to them. So there is our tag. It's a little crinkly right now because it was super wet from all of that smushing, but it's fine. I can use my heat tool to flatten it out more or just put a book on top of it, whatever. So now I'm going to add my bottle. This is a really easy tag, you guys. A little bit of smushing, a little bit of die cutting, and it's done. Super easy, really fun. I wanted to darken those edges. I really like creating vignette looks in my projects, even with photos. Let's be honest. I like to do that too. It brings your eye in. It makes it a little bit, I don't know, interesting. So I added some Rustic Wilderness around the edges of the tag. And then I have this really cool ribbon. It's got kind of a grid pattern on it, or in it. It is a grid pattern because it's cut away. But I thought that was perfect. And I love how it curls. I thought that was really fun too. So there is our tag. Super easy. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. I will be back tomorrow with day 4. If you haven't caught the other days so far, make sure you go back and check them all out. I'll have them in a playlist for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be well, stay safe. Peace out.